Okay, let's talk about what we need to get started. So we'll need a piece of paper. I have one that's a little thicker, but a plain piece of copy paper is fine. A pencil, a black marker if you have one. If not, the darkest one you have, like a dark blue, or I guess even a black pen could work. A ruler or a straight edge is nice if you have one. It's not mandatory. And something to color with. So colored pencils are a possibility, or crayons, or markers. If you do use markers, I'd suggest you skip the skinny ones. It's nicer to have a fat tip to color with, but basically you just need something to color with. So gather up your supplies, pause the video, and come on back. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is find our vanishing point, and that's just going to be a dot somewhere near the center of our paper. I'm going to use my pencil for that. And then we're going to use our ruler or our straight edge, and we're going to draw a line right through that dot. Now notice I line up next to it, so I still see it. And I'm going to spread my fingers out and kind of push down, and that keeps my ruler from wiggling around and going where I don't want it to go. So here's a line straight through all the way to the other side of the paper. If you have a table that's nice, or you're using a Sharpie, make sure you put a piece of newspaper or something underneath so you don't cause a problem. Okay, so there's the dot. I'm going to go right on through the dot and off. My ruler's slightly too small, but I'm going to fudge it. So there's two lines. I'm going to line up again right next to where that dot was. Make another line. There's 3. And here's 4. We'll do one more. 5 lines seems really nice for this. Going right next to that, and I am done. Okay. Now the next step is to pick a wedge, and I'm going to call each of these wedges, and we're going to make, let's call them rainbows or upside down frowny faces, whatever. And if you want to create a better illusion, you'll have them get a little further apart as you go to the outside of the paper. That'll make it look like the center is dipping in. Now for me, I like to turn my paper. It makes it easier for me to handle. And I'm going to kind of match up where I stopped and started on the other. Notice I'm skipping this middle, or that wedge, and I'm going to do every other wedge and in an upside down smiley face or a rainbow shape like that. Okay, you can do that too. Okay, so now I've got all of my curved lines on every other one. Now I'm going to go the other way. So it'll look like the paper is waving up and down. If I went the same way, it would just give a different effect. So you could keep making more of the same, but I'm going to go the opposite way. And I'm going to sort of loosely try to match up these lines. If I'm not perfect, it doesn't matter, because you can just think, oh, that part was kind of lost in the crease. So we're going to loosely go that way. Now notice I ran out of paper here, so I'll just guess. I kind of know that that's where it would have been, and I pick up where it would pick up again. Here we go. We're going to keep doing this all the way around the paper. Okay, so this is how my paper looks. Hopefully yours looks similar. A little like a spider web with wiggly connectors, doesn't it? Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to color in every other one on these wedges. I have markers. I'm going to pick a marker and color in every other wedge here. Let's see. This one looks good. So I'll start here. I like to outline the shape and then fill in the middle. It's a little bit tidier if you do that. And notice I picked a very wide tipped marker because that just makes the coloring faster. and easier. Otherwise, your hand can get awfully tired. So after we fill this one in, we're going to skip this wedge. I'm going to turn my paper and I'll do the next one. Same way. Every other stripe, I guess, is going to be blue. Okay, so you see that I had to switch blues in the middle because my blue here was running out of ink. And that's totally fine. If you have to do that, that is completely fine. Okay, so now we're gonna get the ones that we didn't get before, and we're gonna pick a different color. Maybe I'll pick green this time. And we're gonna now go every other this way. So on the blue, we started with the first stripe. With the green, we'll start with the second stripe, and we will go ahead and color in every other stripe green. Now you could, of course, color all different colors if you liked. There's no limit on that. It's just, I think if you leave half of them white, your hand won't be so tired from coloring. And certainly you could go later and color in the ones that you skipped if you decided you wanted it to be more bright and colorful. Okay, so in order to take this one step further, we want to get our pencil and go along the creases so that it looks like a shadow. That's the nice thing. Our pencil is gray, kind of like a shadow. And notice I'm going to go narrower as I get towards the center of the spokes. And as I go out, I'll get a little bit wider. So I'll make kind of wedge-shaped shadows using the side of my pencil lightly all around until I have done all of the lines around my spoke. Okay, so now I have done my all the way around. I've created shadows with my pencil. And now I'm going to teach you a little trick of the trade. And that is, it'll look more like a shadow if we smudge it and smear it. See how it softens it? And if, as you soften it, you find it's getting harder, it's because your finger has a little bit of oil on it, and that helps it to smudge. So if your finger kind of stops working, pick a different finger. Notice how I'm switching. I'm pushing pretty hard, but I'm switching around fingers. I could even use my thumb until I get it smudged all the way around all the spokes and get it to look more like a shadow. Okay, what do you think? I think it looks pretty good. Woo! All right, there's one more thing we can do. It's completely optional, but I think it's kind of fun if we have a person that falls into our wavy paper. Okay, now I'm going to get a pair of scissors and cut this out. Now it is important to cut around all the edges so it doesn't just look like a piece of paper on a piece of paper. Okay, so here he is. Oh! All right, there he is. He's fallen into our wavy paper. Pretty neat, huh? Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had fun. I know I did. And go out and have an art-filled week.